A local vendor caught red-handed creating his own supply and demand.
How he sold customers equipment they'd already paid for over and over again, and why it's cost taxpayers thousands of dollars. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Erickson.
And I'm Robin Nance. State troopers say a Spokane salesman has figured out a way to make sure his customers always wanted to reorder his products. He'd steal from them every time he'd visit their garage. Clint Nelson faces theft and possession of stolen property charges for allegedly ripping off the Washington Department of Transportation during his road trips around the state.
In a story you'll see only on KXLY4, Jeff Humphrey shows us how the State Patrol used some new microscopic technology to set a trap for their suspect.
Dave, Clint Nelson is a salesman who came here to the DOT yard about once a month to resupply the mechanics who work here with all sorts of electrical components, stuff that they put on their snowplows or street sweepers. However, detectives say Nelson was driving up the demand for his products by stealing hundreds of them every time he was here on the property. Clint Nelson sold so many electrical products to the Department of Transportation that he had his own bins here. As part of his contract, once a month, Nelson would show up, count how many connectors had been used, and then restock his own inventory. However, last summer, mechanics began to wonder why they were paying for 8 times more connectors than they really needed. That's when they began documenting their disappearance.
They were also photographing the parts bins, so they were aware of what their actual usage was and compared that to after Mr. Nelson's visits.
Detectives say the photos show Nelson was driving up the demand for his parts by stealing some every time he made a sales call.
He would open the parts bins, take handfuls of these electrical components and put them in the satchel. And then he would take the satchel home.
Investigators wondered if Nelson was ripping off taxpayers a second time by selling the stolen parts back to the DOT. So Detective Hansen marked some of the connectors with something called a data dot. Under a microscope, each dot has the same pin number, but invisible to the naked eye. Hansen says she allowed Nelson to steal some of the specially marked connectors, which Nelson redelivered as a new product during his next visit.
He would put those back into inventory, then bring some of those same parts back to DOT and resell the stolen parts to them.
The Washington Department of Transportation estimates that it lost at least $30,000 to this alleged scam, and that's just at this one facility. Nelson has the contract to service 17 others here in eastern Washington. Investigators also concerned that other Spokane area businesses and government agencies have been victimized by Nelson as well. Nelson did not return our phone calls today. By the way, he was convicted in the early 90s of embezzling more than $100,000 from his West Side church. Reporting in North Spokane, Jeff Humphrey, KXLY4.